Wow, heartbreaking story coming out about a cruise passenger passing away on a cruise excursion. We've also got some shaking up going on. Royal Caribbean, huge announcement. Royal Caribbean, a second huge announcement. And Carnival sending out letters saying we can't do it. It's a loyalty program nightmare, really. Look, all that and more on today's episode of The Cruise Show.
All aboard! Your ship is leaving. Talking about everything going on and cruising. It's the Lido, Loca time. It's the cruise show. It's the cruise show.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Lido, Loca. Welcome to The Cruise Show. I am your host, Tony, here to talk you through everything going on in cruising. It's everything going on in cruising for your face. That's what it is. It's for your face on a Tuesday the 28th of October, 2025. Let's start with this one. Sad news coming out of Australia. News of an 80-year-old cruise passenger passing away on a cruise excursion. The elderly woman was doing a 60-day tour of Australia on the Coral Adventurer. That's a small cruise ship from Coral Expeditions. She left with a tour group to go hike around the Great Barrier Reef, and she got separated from the group, and she did not return to the cruise ship. When the cruise ship realized she did not return, a search by land and sea was made, and unfortunately, she was found deceased. The initial investigation isn't showing any signs of foul play, but the cruise line continues to work closely with the Queensland Police and other authorities to support the investigation. Look, I'm just sitting here trying to be as diplomatic as possible. It's a sad story, and certainly you feel for family members and friends of this lady. But you know, there's always that thing, like when Dale Earnhardt died at the end of the Daytona 500. NASCAR racer crashed into the wall and he died. You know, there was some sentiment there that said, well, at least he died doing what he loved. And I've always kind of pushed back. It's like, you know, do people really want to die? Like, you know, but I guess it's an interesting philosophical thing to think about. If you had your druthers, if you could pick what activity you were doing when you passed, would you feel like it would be more satisfactory to have passed away doing something that you love? Every time I see these stories, you know, obviously she was out doing what she loved, and then tragedy strikes. It's so sad. You know, there's probably a few takeaways here as cruisers. You know, when you're out and you're basically traveling alone, especially in these excursions, how do you make sure that you stay connected? How do you connect with somebody to say, hey, help me if I get separated or if I can't keep up? Who knows what happened? But it does give you pause for a second to say, okay, the next time that I might be alone on an excursion, because we've had several stories this year of people passing away on excursions, and you know, a couple of them have been solo travelers. You know, what do you do? And hey, solo travelers out there, what do you do to make sure that you're the most connected and safe when you're on these excursions? Sad stuff coming out of Australia. And then let me tell you first, I got two big Royal Caribbean announcements. Let me tell you one right off the jump here. They've announced that they are going to put a beach club in Santorini, Greece. Royal Caribbean is making a huge play for these beach clubs. Just in December, we're going to have the beach club at Paradise Island. That's going to be the new Royal Caribbean Beach Club there in the Bahamas. And we're used to that. We're used to, you know, these private destinations, private islands, you know, those kind of experiences in the Caribbean. But this is a bold move. There's going to be Perfect Day Mexico, which is not a beach club. That's more the private island thing. So two strategies going on. You got the private island, Coco Cay, Perfect Day Mexico, that kind of thing. But then you have these beach club all-inclusive experiences, which we're going to see the first one there on Paradise Island in the Bahamas. And then, you know, the date hasn't been released yet, but at some point you can be on a Mediterranean cruise with Royal Caribbean and go to Santorini and go to kind of a Royal Caribbean experience, which it's an interesting play because we've had that conversation before. Do these kind of things sanitize travel? Like if you're just going from, is it too much of a theme park experience to go to a beach club, opposed to actually getting out and interacting with the place that you're going? And now you go to Greece and, instead of climbing the hills of Santorini and going through that little town, or, fairly sized town, instead of doing that, you're going to go to a prepackaged beach club. There's two sides of that coin. Some people say, well, that's not authentic travel. travel, and that's not the way you should do it. But then other people say, well, yeah, it is. I mean, I'm going on a cruise, and I get to have an experience that's comfortable for me. At the end of the day, Royal Caribbean is planning to build 8 of these beach clubs around the world, and at least we know where the first 2 are. So, yeah, what do you think? Would you visit the Royal Beach Club Santorini? Do you have plans for visiting the one in the Bahamas? Leave a comment below. All right, so one of my favorite comedy memories from being a kid was listening to my brother's copy of the album Steve Martin, Wild and Crazy Guy. And there was a bit on there where he's talking about how to do well with the ladies, and he said the reason he does well with the ladies is because he doesn't smell like any other guy. He smells like tuna fish sandwich. And while I'm not suggesting you smell like tuna fish sandwich, I do think the concept rings true. You should have a signature scent, and that's why I'm thankful for the sponsor of today's episode, Scentbird. Scentbird is a monthly fragrance subscription service where you can hone in on that signature scent without breaking the bank. They got a huge catalog of fragrances, 900 fragrances, colognes, and perfumes. They got the high-end stuff. They got, Prada and Versace. They also have the niche stuff like, Confessions of a Rebel and more. And sometimes I get silly when I pick out what I want to try. I'm a big fan of bergamot, the smell bergamot. It's a tangy citrus, floral, and spicy. So I'm always looking for stuff with bergamot. But I found 2 fragrances this month that really hit home for me. This is Yellowstone. And I wanted to try this, just because it was named after the TV show Yellowstone, and it's got the bergamot in it. And then how could I not? How could I not try a fragrance called Anthony? Let me highlight Anthony for you. This is Anthony by Anthony Black, 30 days of fragrance. They come with this reusable travel dispenser, one of my favorite reasons for Scentbird. This one looks amazing with the starburst, the astronomy stuff on it. All right, let's test it out. I like to apply it there on my neck. That's where Jenny B likes it. It's a bergamot. It's a winner for me every time. Now, excitingly, you can try Scentbird for yourself at a discounted rate. Scan the QR code that's on the screen or click the link in the description. Use my code LIDO-LOCA4 to save 55% off of your Scentbird subscription. That's $8.97 for the first month and then $17.95 for every month after that. Really good value so that you don't have to smell like any other guy or gal for that matter. Thank you, Scentbird, for sponsoring today's episode. I do want to briefly mention that at the time of this recording, we're getting close to Hurricane Melissa making landfall in Jamaica, and then at some point it'll cross across Cuba. This could be devastating for both of those islands, and so positive thoughts and prayers if you got it in you. And certainly, some people don't believe any of that matters. So if you got any money after this thing hits, and you can help out with disaster relief, if you got anything, maybe kick in for that too. But these storms don't care. They don't care where you're from and who you are, and they go and do what they're going to do. And so if you can help out, like I said, with the spiritual, do that. And if you can't, and you can help out with the physical, do that. So. Yeah. Now let's transition this conversation into a conversation about cruise loyalty programs. What a hot button issue cruise loyalty has been in 2025. And certainly as cruise lines have made tweaks and changes to their loyalty program, people have not received it super well. I'm looking at you, Carnival Cruise Line, and I've got a story after this one where Carnival, it really demonstrates how Carnival is struggling with their loyalty program. So what's happening today, and we're getting a lot of news because Royal Caribbean, they're doing their Q3 financial reporting to the analysts to Wall Street. And so we're starting to get some nuggets of other things to come. That's where that beach club story comes from. But we're also getting a nugget about a change to their loyalty program. Say what? Say what? Are you telling me Royal is changing their loyalty program? Seems like it. But maybe just small changes. So the Royal Caribbean Group, they own 3 major brands. Royal Caribbean International, they own Celebrity Cruises, and they also own Silversea. And what they did with the status match is they said, hey, we will match your status from one of those brands to another. And a lot of us raised our hands and said, thank you. That is so smart because now you can play inside the brands. But today we're finding out that that's not the end of the inter-brand matching loyalty love that Royal Caribbean Group is trying to foster. First read this article over at the Royal Caribbean blog. This is where I go for all things Royal Caribbean, our friend Matt over there. And he's talking about an announcement that was made today that it's called Points Choice. Points Choice is the new loyalty feature inside of Royal Caribbean Group that will launch at some point in 2026. And from what I can gather from the initial details of the program is that you will be able to allocate your sailing points wherever you want inside the brand, regardless of what cruise line you are sailing on. You know, the way it normally works is 1 day equals 1 point. So if you go on a 7-day, Star of the Seas cruise for Royal Caribbean, then you get 7 points assigned to your Royal Caribbean International loyalty bucket. Well, imagine this. Imagine you do that same 7-day sailing on Star of the Seas, but you say, hey, don't take those 7 points and put them in the Royal Caribbean International bucket. Put them in the celebrity bucket. I want to start building that up. That becomes really sexy for people that may be already at the top of one of those brands, right? So say that you're already at the top of Royal Caribbean International. Now you can start funneling some of your points over to Celebrity or to Silver Sea. I believe that's the way it's going to work. Again, they released some of the details, but they haven't released the full program details other than really kind of throwing it out into the universe that a change is coming. It will be called Points Choice, and essentially it will be where you can assign the points from your cruise loyalty program across the different brands inside of the Royal Caribbean Group. Do you have any more insight on this Royal program? If you do, leave a comment below. But let's move over to the why. Why did Carnival have to change their loyalty program? And I've mentioned this aspect of the Carnival loyalty program for a while, because what I'm about to show you has been happening for a while. And I've been ringing the bell saying, look, it sucks that they changed the loyalty program. It sucks that they're going to take away people's loyalty. That's not super consumer friendly. But the other thing that's not super consumer friendly is not being able to deliver on the perks that they promised. And that's really the boat that Carnival Cruise Line is in. Here's a letter that's going out to the Diamond and Platinum cruisers on the Carnival Magic for the sailings of 10/18, 10/25, and 11/01. It says, "Dear Diamond and Platinum guests, as you prepare for your cruise, we have an important update. Due to the high number of Diamond and Platinum guests joining us on these voyages, we will not be able to provide the following benefits." The good benefits: priority embarkation and disembarkation, including any of the ports of call. You're not getting that benefit. Early stateroom access. You're not getting that benefit. Priority luggage delivery. You're not getting that, benefit. Priority line and priority phone assistance by guest services. You're not getting that benefit. Related to Diamond guests, due to capacity limitations, we cannot guarantee main dining room seating requests for dinner. Another benefit you're not getting. This is why they had to change the loyalty program. And again, everybody's PO'd because they had to change the loyalty program. But as a platinum cruiser, this is annoying. This is annoying that you can't give me the benefits that I've earned. So that's the rub. That's the rub that Carnival is trying to address with the new loyalty program. They're in a lose-lose situation. They can't deliver the benefits, and they have to change the loyalty program. So that's going to equal angry guests. And the question continues to be: are people going to be angry enough to not be loyal to Carnival, or will people say, "Okay, I'm still going to be loyal to Carnival"? My guess is they have a guess on how many people they're going to lose because of their changes, and that's in. I guess it's in the tolerance, but again, they have to make a change because what good's the loyalty program if you can't deliver the best benefits? This ain't new. This letter has existed for multiple years. I've talked about this several times, but it continues to rear its ugly head. Look, that's everything that's going on in cruising. Thanks again to Scentbird for sponsoring today's episode. Hit that link in the description. Check out that QR code. And man, what a wild show. What a wild show. Look, there's really nothing left to do but dance. Get up. Get up.